I have really high expectations of our conversation this afternoon. So I have Mr. Tony here, who's a very lovely champion for artificial intelligence in motor insurance. Mr. Damola has been nothing less of exceptional. In fact, I describe him as our innovation partner for everything related to, motor insurance products and the application of artificial intelligence. Madam Habibat has been super amazing, and she has also been pushing a lot of these initiatives at her esteemed organization. And Mr. Jafar as well, great experts joining us here today. Some of our panelists have been exploring solutions, around artificial intelligence and its application in motor insurance, which is why we have specifically invited them to share, some quality experience here with us today. Without further ado, I'll get the conversation started. And before we get into the technical jargons, I would first start from an operational side. And my first question will be to Mr. Tony. So as we know it today, insurers have a need for inspecting vehicles that they wish to underwrite. And that need also comes up during the claims process, right? And so again, for us to do this, it's heavily operational, right? What is your experience with your survey team as of today, in your organization, and what are the challenges they would often face,
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, presently, we've really had some challenge especially to do with things of inspection. I personally had to even start looking for a solution because you find out when there's a claim and you need to do a survey. The first thing is the process. You get to the people in charge of survey, you need to inform them, and you're not just the only one informing them. They have series, maybe like 10, 20 at the same time. They can't divide themselves. Most times there are maybe one or two in that department. So you need to be, they would first of all tell you to be patient. That is first come, first serve. So they now begin to book appointments with the client, and most times it's not also convenient for the client because the client wants it now, and you are busy telling the client, can we make it in 2 days? Can you make it in 3 days? So a lot of issues come there, and then eventually they need to go there. The cost implication is something else. They will need to find their way down to the place. It becomes worse when the accident happened, you're in Lagos and the accident happened in Sokoto, and in fact, that's even a major challenge. Most times they will tell you, well, they will have to now give it to a third party, a loss adjuster to go and do that, and that's another process altogether, and when you look at all this, it causes a lot of delay. And one thing about claims is that the more you delay, the more likely things will begin to go wrong, and so when eventually they go there to do the inspection, they're only humans, there will be human error, and all that. And you find out all this were really a lot of problem, and when this started happening, I knew that, look, we just need to have a solution to this because there's no way we can continue this way and be able to deliver good service. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing from an operational perspective on some of the common challenges. I believe some of these challenges are also not familiar to my other panelists. So in terms of innovation and digitization, my next question will go to you, Mr. Jafar. How are you currently making any automation efforts, and how are you currently, thinking about automating some of these things or challenges Mr. Tony has spoken about in your business as of today?
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so it's a good thing it started from the pain points of what insurance providers were going through, and also where automation can come into the picture. So the topic AI is what we're speaking about. So AI has several functionalities, several benefits that it can bring to the company. And one of them is pattern recognition. So the AI system can actually study several patterns to identify if there are any, let me put it this way, anything, a fraudulent act, let me just put it that way, that, okay, maybe you have certain claims coming in from a same email address, same phone number. AI can actually detect that and present it to the insurance providers so they can actually flag it to identify those sort of claims to show that, okay, this is actually a fraudulent claim. Then also image analysis. So that's one AI solution that actually wowed me when we started our engagement, that what the human eye cannot see, AI can actually see it in split seconds. And when all it has to do is with the same camera lens that your phone uses, it scans a particular image. It can spot in some places which a loss adjuster or an inspector might miss out. And imagine you going through a claim process, your adjuster gives you the damage assessment. Then at some point in time, some other places have been missed out. The policy holder, it depends on that person if he or she has a good heart to now tell the insurance company that, I'm sorry, you missed that one part. In most cases, the fault comes from the insurance provider. So that aspect is on the burden is on the insurance company. So that image analysis, it does that pretty well, analyzing several images. Then also when it comes to cost, which you mentioned, truly that's really a bottleneck, because you now have to start looking at adjusters that are in different locations in the country, because you're providing insurance services to everybody in Nigeria, not just Lagos, Abeokuta, or Ibadan. So your adjusters need to also have a presence there, and if they don't, that comes at extra cost to the insurance company. Then also that human error aspect, which speaking about that geographic reach, there's what's it called, the AI provides remote inspection, which can be done from the comfort of the provider's location in real time as well. Then I think I've talked about cost. Also, the cost is pretty depending on the provider, though. Curacell, they've been fantastic with their pricing. So it depends on the provider of the AI solution. It's actually way cheaper than when you factor all these human beings having to move around to inspect to assess the damage of the vehicles. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that very concrete response. And just even building on that, we've talked about cost quite a bit, right? And I know your balance sheet is very important to you as an insurer, right? And my next question now would lay on yours for Mr. Damola. So I understand you're also currently, experimenting around automations of your solutions. Not even experimenting, you're currently, implementing some of the solutions. Now, in terms of fraud, have you been able to, can you share some of your experience around like cost benefits? Are you detecting more fraudulent activities, with some of these automations, or is it business as usual? Do you get to enjoy any additional cost benefits on fraud detection?
Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. So I think in terms of costs, I'll answer your question this way. So in terms of costs, yes, there are benefits there because, for example, you need to do certain inspections or checks in a remote location, right? You can leverage some certain tools to be able to do that, and you don't have to leave Lagos, for example. However, when you talk about fraud, right? So I'm quite cautious of talking about fraud because, and this is something that all of us in insurance, we are quite guilty of, right? We put fraud a lot in front of the customer, right? Why do we always, most of the time, revert to it has to be fraudulent case or situation, right? So yes, what this solution or the solution could help us to identify is, yes, patterns, just like was mentioned, to better understand customers, right? To better understand, so for us, right, I know that a lot of conversation has been about maybe on the claim side, right? But if we even look at pre-inspection, right, I think this is, and speaking to your Curacell AI solution, I think is very key, right? Because to complete that process, you need to do inspection, right? You have to verify that asset exists, right? So many times what we used to do is use your phone normally, take pictures. One, that can be doctored, right? That vehicle can be in the US at the time that they are insuring it. By the time it comes in accidented, they put in for claims. Do you understand? Right? So the benefits that a solution like this then brings is, one, you can only do the inspection live, right? Real time. And then you're able to confirm the location where you are doing that inspection. Do you understand? Then because it's so nimble, right? You can do it remotely, just like he mentioned. So I can be in Lagos, and I have a customer in Enugu, and all I need to do is maybe provide a link, for example, and the customer is able to do inspection. The same inspection that yesterday I would have looked for someone there to do it, or I would have gone myself. Do you understand? So there are definitely benefits there. If you look at companies, you see that many of the times to do those inspections, they probably use your pool car. that's a cost of fuel and things like that, right? What this also does is it frees you up to do better work, right? So even for the teams internally that are assessing or reviewing these bookings when they come in, when these transactions come in, many of the times you see these guys are playing detective again. Like I said, we are looking for fraudulent, we are looking for, okay, let's leave that to the AI to detect it, right? And we just do the overview, because one of the things that we've learned as well on our side is that there has to be a human in the loop. That's one thing, at least right now. We have to have that human in the loop, and yeah, so it's still beginning stages for us, right? Learning about what this can be and the benefits and opportunities that it opens up. But we can see clearly that it's solving a problem, and there are a lot more things. And if you look at, you're starting off with moto, there are a lot of other use cases as well, fire and burglary, and things like that. There's this startup in South Africa, Pineapple, right? Their tagline is "Insure with a snap," right? What do they insure? Your gadgets and items. So I can insure my phone alone, my laptop alone. I don't know which insurance companies in Nigeria, are able to offer just come and insure your laptop alone. They'll tell you that your laptop can just disappear. So I think some of these things can help to open new markets. That's the big picture, all right? And because it's highly scalable, again offers a lot more opportunities for the industry. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your input, Damola. I'll pass it on to Habibat now, where we're going to be talking about strategic benefits, especially pertaining to customer experience, right? So now there is the policy holder on one hand, and then there's the insurer on the other hand, right? So with solutions like this that is basically helping automate these processes, reduce turnaround time, what benefits do you think the consumer themselves can get from such solutions in terms of how they interact with insurance, their journey experience and all of that? How do you envision this impacting your customers?
All right, thank you very much. For me, I feel for our customers is very important. Of course, that's why we're in the market. For customers, I feel the very first thing is trust. It engenders trust because the process is quite transparent. They are the ones doing the inspection themselves, so they know what they put there. That's the first. Then the time to market or time to response, the response time for the customers is quite very seamless, because the time in which we go through the process of accepting the claims documents, requesting for pictures, asking, did you take that picture? Did you take this picture? Engaging a loss adjuster, get the back and forth is cut short by a mile, more than a mile, because all those things are done with their real time taking of the videos and everything. And what it invariably means is that they are part of the process. They know where they are in the process. And even the analytics and the result, depending on your engagement, I do believe in hope, they should be able to get their own response time then. So that trust, the timeline, the major reduction in timeline to get to that DV stage is very important. And of course, lastly, it speaks to, and I think the healthcare panel spoke to it, personalization and customization. We all know big data and everything. As insurers, we are custodians of major data. And for us, what it means is that if we implement AI solutions that will be able to analyze our data and be able to better customize and personalize the auto insurance for our customers, for the client, and they are able to, and I hope in the future, pick and choose the type of auto insurance they're able to do. They're able to use their patterns and our experience with them, whether it comes to claims or how clean their record is, to negotiate, to have better rates and better experience. So for us, it's very important that this AI solution that we're trying to look at help us with our customers in terms of timeline, engendering trust, as well as personalize better and more deserving premiums and products for our clients, at least that for the customers. So with that, of course, the customers are happy and can have better interactions with us. And I think the area we also haven't probably delved into is the policy documents. And if we properly introduce AI and everything into probably our chat box, we don't have to be on the call as individual, having to say, oh, did you notice that within your policy document? If they go to the chat box and have a conversation, we've properly trained our AI, train our AI, they're able to immediately search whatever thing they're looking for within the policy documents and have it properly covered. And of course, the exclusions. That's again speaking to personalization. They can immediately try to personalize their auto insurance to give them added value generally. So
Thank you very much you did touch on a lot of points, and I think we would eventually get to personalization because I really enjoyed that one, and there are lots of possibilities in that regard as well. But before we even pass it on, now we've talked about the consumer side. You as a business, as our strategy expert, what do you stand to benefit from this automation process? How does it make business better for you, generally speaking?
Okay, for us, when it comes to automating probably auto insurance, for example, and I'm very clear in saying auto insurance, for example, what it does for us is, and I think what we have not really appreciated is the retail leg of it, the ability for us to underwrite, for us to underwrite more policies, because the faster we're able to underwrite good quality policies, the more policies we're able to underwrite. Of course, and then it touches our bottom line. For us, it also helps us, of course, we don't like to speak to it, but again, it helps us with fraud prevention. Aside fraud detection, it helps us with fraud prevention. And that means the middle line gets a good, we're able to properly manage the middle line. That means the cost of underwriting that premium. And then risk analysis. It's very, very important. And properly pricing that risk is also something that it does for us. I want to dial back to look at probably when the AI tool helps us with the inspection, that's post-loss survey. Because what we expect it to do is to do an analytics for us and give us a report that speaks to not only where the damages are, but the report should also probably, as you continue to innovate around it, speaks to the costs for repairing such damages. And if we properly integrate with our of course, auto shops that we have on our record, the speed in which that result, that inspection comes in, as we get the results, our auto shops also get those pictures, and they're able to quickly, of course, give quotations. And if well integrated, we also expect as a benefit to be able to see auto parts, the cost of auto parts. So those reports give decision making becomes quicker, and that for us is very important. In a market where trust is largely lacking, decision process has to be very fast, because if it is not sufficiently fast, and of course, when we try to do basic inspection and ensure that, of course, we detect fraud and everything, after taking so much time trying to ensure that the VIN number is accurate, the damage is actually as recent as the client claims. And probably by the time we say, okay, so we detected a fraud, the client is already unhappy. So a happy client gives us a happy bottom line. And that for us is very, very important. And that's one of the major benefits. And of course, innovate around our products. Thank you.
Please, a round of applause for her, please. All right. I think it's been very engaging and, sort of intimate, because I hear them quoting a lot of like practical experiences as to what they are currently doing in their organizations as of today. Now, that would bring me to my next question. You've hammered a lot on personalization. Maybe I'll pass it to Jafar for this one. So again, personalization for motor insurance, as we know, a lot of it may come from telematics as the source of data, right? So how could that practically improve your risk assessment process, for determining premiums, reinsurance, what is the importance of this data, that you require in personalization, and how can that even help you take business to the next level?
Okay, thank you. That's a very important question for motor insurance, because we see telematics as the, how will I put it, the add-on to motor insurance that benefits both the customer and the insurer as well. So just a bit brief on telematics. What it does is it captures the device that you install in your vehicle, and it captures the customer's behavior, as much as speeding, harsh braking, every single thing that it does. Also, it helps with weather, traffic patterns, traffic as well. So when AI helps in conjunction with telematics to analyze this data, it brings in areas of dynamic pricing for the insurance company. Because a customer that insures with you in a particular year, depending on the claims the customer might have occurred on renewals, you have the underwriters and the claims team putting things together to measure the claims ratio. So you have telematics now bringing all these insights to life. And there's also what they call a drive coach, which the telematics can also help the policyholder on behalf of the insurance company that, okay, maybe this particular pattern you take each day might lead to maybe an accident, or your driving pattern, that the way you're driving, the way you accelerate, the harsh brake. So that's like a driving coach that adds to it. So that's all of like personalization that the policyholder will be impressed with the insurance company providing such services. Then, like I already talked about the pricing as well, which is key, that they would like to be, they will appreciate being part of that pricing mechanism. Although this also boils down to our regulators as well, because they've actually given us a standard rates for insurance, but it also helps with the claim ratio, because regardless that standard rate, if you have a customer that's claimed maybe 5-6 times in a year, the next year definitely underwriters will try to just put something a little bit so they'll not be paying the same amount like they paid last year. So telematics is really key, and AI infused with telematics help to make all those great business decisions, because they're also working with data, which is key, rather than just making suggestions off the top of their head. So that's what I can add. Thank you.
But just, a quick add-on on that. I've also been talking to certain organizations where, customers are worried about telematics. It's like, why do you want to know where I am? How I drive? It's privacy invasion, right? if this is a practice that is popular in your organization, how are you managing all these pushbacks from customers? Again, in terms of the device, right? Installing that in their motor vehicle. Of course, we know these days, in fact, at Curacell, we no longer depend on device for telematics. We leverage the mobile phones of the policyholder, right? But in your own opinion, or from your own experience, being the ones interfacing with the customer, what is the attitude and uptake towards telematics like, and how are you managing that?
Okay, so I see telematics as advanced vehicle tracking devices, and there are some vehicle devices. There are some vehicles you don't install tracking devices. It's quite complex, which it might actually affect the electronics of the device. So some customers will tell you upfront, do not install the tracking device. I think Mercedes-Benz, they come with their own satellite tracker. So, and BMWs and the like. So those sort of customers, you cannot convince them. But the other ones that still have those issues, we always come from the value point of the whole thing, that you might not be the one in that vehicle all the time. Some of us, we have drivers, 2-3 drivers, drives ourselves or drives our wife. So you come from that point of your driver can also bring in enough damages to your vehicle, can actually cause a damage to someone else as well. So let me just put it this way, that will come from the value point of the benefits that they can get from that telematics, and it's actually paid off. But like I said, there are some of them that they would not even look towards telematics or tracking devices as well.
Interesting. A consumer behavior, a very important part of this conversation, because again, we're innovating for the customers. If they are not buying or using these solutions, we may as well just be wasting our time. So good insight on how you're managing that. Talking about personalization as well, Mr. Tony, great thing you're a retail man. On the distribution front, we are now beginning to look at how businesses are leveraging different channels like chatbots today. Madam Habiba had also talked about even layering artificial intelligence on top of that to make it smarter in terms of how your systems are interacting with customers, right? So how do you envision artificial intelligence, combined especially with like interactive channels, elevating customer experience and journey? Like if you were to snap a finger, and have a dream solution for distribution through chatbots, what would you envision customers could benefit from it?
There's a lot to benefit from the chatbot and artificial intelligence. One thing we have really noticed is that sometimes you think you know so much, and I don't know if you've tried using some of these AI chatbots before, and you find out that when you even ask some certain questions and the kind of answer you expect may not be what you get, and it gives you insights of things you didn't even know happens, So you come to a chatbot and you ask, what kind of motor insurance can I take for this kind of reason or that kind of reason? And you begin to get educated, And I think this is very necessary. It is very, very important, because we know that the average Nigerian, the insurance consciousness or the insurance education is very low, and this has a way of helping, So I think it's really good, and it also helps for personalization. Over time, we've come to realize that even things like pay as you go for motor insurance is becoming popular. I know there was a time we had one, we talked to some of these drivers, Uber drivers and all that, I know, and we noticed that they normally make payments on a weekly basis, to their whoever owns the vehicles and all that. And by the time we suggested to them that, well, if we do give you an insurance that you also pay on a weekly basis, to cover your vehicle, how will you feel? And they really liked the idea, and it was a good one for us, So I think personalization is very important, and using the chatbots for getting information and getting into the system, it also helps, because with the younger people these days, they may not have time to come to your office. and begin to ask questions or begin to fill in forms. But these chatbots will be able to do all that. We'll be able to register them and do whatever they need to do online. So I think it's a very good one, and I think it's something we should encourage. Thank you.
Please, a round of applause for Mr. Tony as well. Thank you very much for that comprehensive response. Now, when it comes to motor insurance, another thing we've seen, in our engagements with, with insurers is that, again, it is an ecosystem business. It is not just, we've talked a lot about the insurer, we've talked, about the customer. We did mention somewhere along the line, the need for adjusters, and other agents, that play a role in this value chain, right? So that brings my next question to Damola. And basically, now having to interact with so many parties is part of the reasons why there's so much exposure for fraud. In our conversations, we've talked about how policyholders even collude with mechanics on, inflating part prices and all of that, right? So how can insurance now, in the loop of this communication, bringing the ecosystem together, how can we seamlessly connect people, and what benefits would that bring, to the ecosystem in terms of how we're processing underwriting and claims, and just making decisions, basically? Yeah.
Yes. So I think when you look at motor insurance specifically, right? And maybe I'll just restate what I said earlier, right? In terms of sometimes we wear so much of the fraud cap, right? Which sort of tilts our decisions sometimes. If you look at your airtime, right? Today, if you want to buy airtime, all you need to do is star so you can buy from your, at a point in time you couldn't buy directly from your bank. At a point in time it was scratch card. In fact, it was scratch card, yes, then paper. That means that they now decentralized it, so you have using paper, people on your streets. Then now I can't even find those papers anymore. You can just buy directly from MTN or you buy from your bank, right? What has happened is that the process works and it's simple, it's straight. I want to buy internet data. I just click on the USSD. Now, what I think, especially for motor, is I don't think that when a customer has an accident, what comes to his mind is, how do I make? He's in pain. He's like, my car just got hit by downfall, and that guy doesn't have third party. He's begging me. He's begging is not going to repaint the vehicle, right? How do we create an ecosystem, right? So yes, leveraging AI, so we look at all of the processes that are involved in doing all of these things today. Do we need all of those processes, right? Can we create an ecosystem? Okay, you leverage the tool, for example, you take the pictures, they are the inspection. Okay. Remember, location is captured. And then, just like she mentioned, you have taken the picture, the AI does the assessment, it knows the kind of damage that happened. That information is fed back to the system, and it gives me as an insurer the estimate of what I'm notified, and I'm reaching out to the customer immediately and saying, hey, I saw that you had a hotel roundabout. Do you want someone? We have a garage partner 10 minutes from you. He can come meet you, pick up the vehicle, and to be ready for you by end of business. From there, we can actually get you an Uber as well to go and do your business. It just needs peace of mind. What is insurance? Guaranteeing peace of mind. So how do we create an experience different from what we have always known? And that's what technology can help us to do. And AI definitely can play a role in connecting all of those dots. Remember that AI is not doing magic. It's sitting on data. And for insurance, we have data. So that data can be unstructured. It can be written somewhere. That's a different conversation, right? But we have data. What are we doing with that data? That is the issue, and that's the problem, right? It can just be as simple as just layering AI on the data that you already have. Don't even do anything new. The data that you already have since you started till date, just understand and use analytics and insights that you have from your existing data to improve the kind of motor insurance product that you're offering to your customers, kind of experience you when you assess it. Is it actually, are you do you need to look at it as these guys would be fraudulent, or maybe I should offer this kind of benefits to them, they won't think about it, or I should not do this kind of thing so that they will not even offer, or ensure that, look at that, for example. Just take your pictures. Within 10 minutes, engagement has happened, because I'm already at peace, right? So I don't have the space to say, let me engage my mechanic to inflate anything, right? So I think what is most important is for us as an industry, rethinking the experience around a lot of our products and customer experience, right? For motor insurance, there's still a lot of opportunity, because how many insured vehicles exist in the country? How many cars exist in the country that are registered? How many have fake vehicle insurance? How many are actually insured, right? And you are still talking about retail. You understand? Many of the ones that we do now, fleets, and maybe that's where IoT, telematics can play a lot of role. But when you look at the retail customer, you're invading my privacy, right? So I think it's rethinking that experience. We have to look at it from an experience point of view and put yourself in their shoes as well. And even in providing some of these solutions as well, I think, yes, the external customer is also important, but the internal customer as well. I mean, looking at it from the retail point of view, you have advisors, you have agents who are going to the market. How are you empowering them to do it better? Because sometimes, yes, fraud, it could come from those channels, right? Definitely. So, but how do you ensure that? So, for example, this AI tool, it can help to just cut out some things, not giving them a headache, right? So you're able to, even from the moment that you have taken the pre-inspection pictures, you know what claims can look like. So by the time it comes in, you know that this one, right, and just gives you peace of mind. So I think those are my own thoughts.
All right, thank you very much for that. I think I'm going to ask one last question, and then we'll pass it on to the audience for their comments, questions, and feedback as well. And this is now, again, taking it back to the customer. A new array of tools are springing up that is putting more power in the hands of the customer. For example, carousel self-inspection, AI-powered tools. In some cases, it could be the customers utilizing these channels. In some cases, it could be the agents, right? So for those of us who are currently in the market, this would be to yourself, Damola, Habibat, and then Mr. Jafar. Just tell us, again, what are customer expectations, shaping up to look like in terms of adoption? Is it looking like something, you think you could scale? Like you mentioned, it's highly scalable. So is that what your experience is currently telling you? Or are we facing friction and, objections like we are with telematics? So it'll be great to know what your experience is, with your customers in terms of adopting these solutions these days. Again, because if the customers are not buying into it, we're pretty much wasting our time, right?
Yeah.
So maybe Damola, you could start it, and then we'll pass it on, and then to the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in terms of adoption, so one thing that we should understand is that this is a long game, right? It can't be a short. It's a long game, and when you look at adoption, you are introducing tools like this. You are speaking to customer behavior, right? You are talking about behavioral change. When you're looking at customers, external customers, yes, but then also the internal customers. For example, on the retail side, the agents, right? There's a way that we do things, and it's not broken. It's working. My commission is not hanging anywhere. By the time you bring solutions, right, the first thing they ask you is that, who is it going to read for? Hope it's not that someone will steal my business, right? Hope it will not disturb them confirming this transaction, because that's what it speaks to their bottom line, right? It speaks to their pockets, right? So I think adoption is definitely a long-term thing, but as far as the solution is solving a problem, it will have its place, and that's what it is doing, right? So at least from our own point of view, it's definitely solving a challenge for our advisors. So for example, you can do the inspection yourself, right? You have access to it. But if you have customers who are in locations that are not in places where you can get to, you can just leverage the tool as well. And so instead of spending X amount of money to go there or look for someone that will do it, you are just sending a link and the customer is able to do it simply, easily, and the process is done. And that important part of booking your motor insurance policy is taken care of easily. So I think adoption definitely is going to grow, right? It's change of behavior, and we have to be patient because even we are looking at AI again, like I said, it's sitting on data. It's what you feed it that's going to do. So many of the things that we should be rolling out, and things that we should ensure is bespoke and is speaking to our realities, not just everybody's doing it.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that. Madam Habiba, what's your take?
All right, thank you very much. As you asked, what does the customer want? I think easy accessibility, and of course, someone spoke about financial inclusion earlier on, and I want to relate it to the financial services ecosystem and the banking sector specifically. Customers want something that they can get at a snap of their finger that does not stress them out, and insurance generally stresses people out because Nigerians are very superstitious, and we are a God forbid kind of people. So, and when it comes to auto insurance, it's because it's compulsory. It's because those roadside people would stop me and be asking for my paper. So they want to do the barest minimum, and they want to be able to do it in an instance. So accessibility is very important. And that means for our agents, for our foot soldiers, they should have access to a system where they can stand and say, I can get you your auto insurance now in the next 2 minutes, in the next 3 minutes. Just give me your name. And they are able to access it via their handheld devices, enter the data, and that's it. What's your WhatsApp number? And then they share the certificate. And for our internal clients, which is our food soldiers, they want to be able to immediately they record that transaction. They want to be able to cha-ching, alert on their bank account, or at least their wallet showing that they have a sizable amount of information. Of course, Damola has spoken to the fact that they want to know that this transaction is recording for them. So that's for our internal customers there. And of course, our clients, the people that are recording the auto insurance and everything, even though they want easy accessibility, ability to do that, they also want to know that they're not wasting money. And something that makes it hard for them to believe they are not wasting money is the tedious claims process, and we've spoken extensively about it. If they're able to know the journey, their knowledge of the journey from undertaking the insurance down to making claims and getting response, if they're able to know the journey and the journey is seamless and timely, I think they are fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Mr. Jafar?
Okay. So I'm sure some of us here in this room, we saw a video maybe like 10, 12 years ago about, there's a foreign advert though, about two drivers driving. They had an accident. One came out, both of them came outside. One of them just kept shouting while the other one just reached out to his phone. Then a robotic voice started speaking to him while the other one is still trying to call the insurance company. Hello, hello, hello. He couldn't reach out. Then meanwhile, the other one paused to look at the other one. The bot was telling him that, okay, you just had an accident. Okay, take a picture with your phone. Immediately, I'm sending you the cost of estimate. I'll send you a drone flew in, took the picture rather, assessed it. Then I think they said they will get an Uber to take the person out of the place. The other guy was still calling, trying to call the contact center, and it didn't go through. So that video sufficed again. I think that was 2 years ago or a year ago. So right from time when I saw that video, I was looking at it. How can we in this country give those sort of services to customers, that wow services that aside for the customer, it's the claim aspect. Why we were looking at, okay, a seamless onboarding process, But the customer is also looking at it, okay, if it's this seamless to onboard, when it comes to claim, will it be this seamless? Will I start calling everybody around? Do I need to go to your location for it? So when I saw that video, then I've always been looking at it, okay, what can make that possible in real life is data. Because there are so many touch points that data can just feed in, AI can just feed into this database. And there's a part which my colleague here mentioned about the integration with insurance company and the repair shop. So everything is still tied to the ecosystem, like you mentioned. If you tie the entire process, now use AI to leverage that process, every single thing can be done in real time. And that's what I'm sure we're all looking at as insurance providers, to be able to give that sort of fantastic customer experience to customers. Then also when it comes to platforms that we can leverage on for insurance companies, when with what she mentioned as well, that you can just put a little information like your vehicle registration number, and it calls up the remaining information, so you don't have to start filling it. That's actually possible now. You can do it. That it simplifies the process of buying the motor insurance. Then that's to the external customer. Then the internal customer that we know of, let's use agents now in retail, truly is the commission that they're looking at. So AI also powers a solution called straight through process, which is powered by APIs as well, which that cuts across every process owner in a particular tax, customer service, underwriting, finance. And an agent can book a policy now, and in 7 minutes, it gets to the application immediately. You don't have underwriters or customer service or finance having to reach out to one another to find out that, okay, has this policy been booked? The only area that can still be automated is commission, because commission is paid through a banking application. But you can also tie that to the ecosystem, that the agent is empowered that if I go out today, I want to sell, I can sell to my customer in 7 minutes, everything gets booked. I don't have to chase anybody internally, and I get my commission maybe in a week or 2 weeks. So those are the solutions. When we were always thinking of digitizing processes, that we're always looking at the internal customer and the external customer as well. It's a bit, it's a lot of hard work though, but that joy that it brings to you when you see that, okay, you've been able to cross certain milestone. And for digital transformation is a journey. I don't think anybody has actually gotten there, but what we always try to do is self-evaluation, that when you get to a particular milestone, you celebrate yourself. Work doesn't stop there, because you always have to think of continuous process. And the likes of AI solution, automation helps to bring all these solutions to life. So that was what I would just like to add. Thank you.
All right. A round of applause for our fantastic panelists, gentlemen and ladies. It's been a very interesting session. I have picked up things, new knowledge and insights as well from this conversation, and I'm sure you have as well. You didn't mention a video. We have an amazing video for you just before lunch. We're doing the business lunch next. I know some of us are hungry, yeah? It's time to munch on something. But before we do that, we would love to take some opinions, questions, maybe 2 because of time, from the audience. Does anyone have any questions, comments, insights they would love to share with us? Any takers? Okay, we have one person on that end.
Madam Abibat, thanks so much. Fortunately, I'm wearing your cap and that of Mr. Jafar currently, and it's not been easy. I think Jafar can also attest to that, really. And this session has been so insightful and also, let me say, inciting and then eye-opening, really. Damola said something that we need to be very patient, and I agree with him totally. The adoption of technology in this space has been something that is going to take time. But we've spoken a lot about customers. We've not really touched on the mindset of the insurance practitioners. It's been a very, very big problem, really. And it's simple. This is how we've been doing it. It is a statement that's really been disturbing me, been disturbing my job. Even when we have initiatives that can lead to growth and penetration, but you will see people that have used, I'm just very probably young in the industry.
You will see people 10 years, 15 years be telling you, you've been doing this even before you were born. So we are now coming to say, this is how we should do it. I think there's a need for a mindset shift in the industry. How do you guys think we can address that?
It was, in fact, if you are talking about insurance now, I'm just wondering what you'll be talking about at that time. If you want to do a policy, you can queue up in a place they call typing pool. So you have people in a room like this, all with typewriters, typing policies. So you have to wait for your turn. You know, and even then, we had real copy and paste. I keep telling this story, copy and paste. There was no computer then, so they had their own copy and paste. So there's maybe a particular endorsement or policy, part of the policy they need to put. So they will have to tear it out and then put gum and then paste it on the policy. So a lot of things like that. And at a point, something happened. Computers started coming in. And when computers started coming in, a lot of these people were going to lose their jobs, but they didn't know. They didn't believe it would ever happen, you know. But I had a colleague then, one of the ladies was a bit close to me, so I started advising her, go and do this, go and start learning how to use the computer and all that. And eventually, it was like a joke. One day, then I was in the branch. One computer landed in our office. And when it landed, and they said, the first person they asked, we had someone who was a PA to the regional manager. But the only way, when that computer came, they now asked, who can use a computer among you people? That same lady I talked about raised her hand, and she became automatically promoted to now start using the system as the assistant to the regional manager. You know, so what I'm saying is, change is coming. It's either you flow with it or you die. And that's the truth. If any insurance company continue to say that's the way we do it, then they are planning to close down. But you see, one of the things that really, why they really say this is money, spending money. One of the things I've understood is that insurance companies find it a bit difficult to spend money. They are conservative, which is part of what we are, you know? And it's not just in that area. It's one of the things that even happens in retail, you know, and digitalization. When they invest 1 naira, they want to see 10 naira in the next 5 days. Not 1 month, not 2 months. They want to see it immediately. So it's a problem. So one of the things I did for me is when I bring a new innovation and they start looking for money, in order not to get, because they can distract you. At that point, they start putting you under pressure. You'll not know when you leave that particular thing and go back to the normal things that people do. So what I normally do is, I normally divide my team. I now have a team that is focused on the job that where we are planning to go. And then I now have the team that continues on the regular one to be bringing the income so that the management will continue to give me time. That is the only way you can do it. Because the truth of the matter is that sometimes it's not even the management's fault. It's from the board. So the management might really want this thing done, but they've gotten approval from board to approve this money. The board starts to put them under pressure. What has come out from this money that we gave you? So it's really a problem. So you need to really think your way through. And it's just normal that new things, you must prove yourself. It can't come easy. Thank you.
Yes, so I think to add to that, I feel your pain. I can hear it's a battle that, but one of the things that is a constant is change, right? Some of the guys, the people that own the insurance companies, they started those insurance companies. They were startups at a point in time, right? Today, you go to Yaba, some of the biggest buildings, or on Ikorodu Road, right? Now, in terms of the mindset change, so I was at an event last month, and the NIADG was saying something. So she said that it's not like the industry players don't know what to do, right? They don't. It's not like they are blind to some of these opportunities is the how, right? One of the challenges that you see with insurtechs or tech players or innovators bringing solutions to insurance companies is that they just bring the tool, they just bring the solution. Oh, this is what it's supposed to do. It's to help you do this. Not understanding the realities of that insurance company. There's a reason why things happen the way they happen. Okay, what do you want to improve? How does it speak to the reality? So that's why even as innovators or even internally, if you are an entrepreneur, you have to wear the innovation cap, yes, but you have to look at the business side as well. Why? Because there's a reason why they exist. Maybe if you change that thing, maybe promotion for the next 2 years might be affected. But you might not have views of that, right? But there's a kind of inflow that comes in from the way they do things, right? So, but how do you speak to them to understand that, okay, yeah, maybe when we start off, it might hit you a bit, but in next 3 years, if you are doing 10, it can become 100 because you have leveraged technology or innovation, right? So I think weighing those two caps and being more strategic in how you engage is definitely key. I know that one of the focus, right, for the new NI chairman is how to drive digitalization within the industry and things like that, right? So again, they understand what can be done and what the opportunity is the how, and that's why technology and innovation is very key. But you have to approach it from a partnership point of view, collaboration point of view. If you're an innovator and even internally, you have to have that. If you are just saying, this person has used it. 2 insurance companies are not the same. 2 different books, 2 different type of markets. Do you understand that they are addressing? So I think that's what I would say. Yes, mindset has to change, right? But we see that is happening. It's just the how, and that's where engagements like this are very important, right? And I'm happy that people like you are here as well.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, let me just add to it. Okay, so one of the biggest problem is fear. Fear, cause the people in operations now, you're bringing a solution about automation. What comes to my mind is when you automate my process, I get sacked. That's it. So it depends on organizations though, but for us in Cornerstone, I've been able to get the buy-in of executive management that whilst we are trying to automate, we're not getting rid of people. However, we're not increasing the number. So let's say we want to grow retail to maybe like 100,000 or 200,000 customers. So operations team, they are scared again that if you do not give us more people, how do we underwrite these policies? So I come from the point of view of we do not need to increase the resources, the people, that we can automate certain processes that would make life easier. And you will not get sacked, because that's when they see me and my team were coming. They're already shutting their door that this one wants to get us sacked, everything. So if you can sell that to them, and also the value, because there's so many solutions that we've deployed that we now find out there's the operations team. We can be in like a strategy retreat, and the head of operations is speaking about it, not even coming from my own point of view. So if you can sell it to them for them to see that value, then it goes a long way. Thank you.